happy Friday, and welcome to another episode of the SoFLo Sports Show. It's your host, 305 Sports Babe, co-host Lou from Dade. And man, it's such a big weekend in Miami. Like, of course, the national championship is here, but the fact that the Canes are in it just solidifies and exemplifies and just puts everything like 20 million times bigger than anyone could imagine.
It's surreal. We mentioned it last week when they had clinched the spot after winning in the Fiesta Bowl, and they are now here at home. I joked with Russ in the room. I joked with Russ. He said, "Are you going to the game?" I said, "No, flights are too expensive right now." Well, newsflash, we don't have to go anywhere. We're not going to the game, but we don't have to go anywhere. It is right in our backyard. And again, it's surreal when you see all the banners being put up a couple of days ago, and it's got the University of Miami logo on it. It's just a surreal scene down here. The town is abuzz. We are starved for a football winner since the Dolphins have neglected us for a quarter of a century at this point. And the Hurricanes are on the verge of returning to prominence and dominance.
So on tonight's episode, we have one of our favorite guests who you guys have seen him on the show before, Will Padron from 305 Sports Now. He is a Canes expert. He is an alum. And he's just a huge fan. So we're so excited to have him tonight, join us tonight. And then we're going to also talk about the rest of the events going on this weekend. So if you are in town, you live here, want to bring the family out, we're going to get that covered. We'll talk a little bit about what to expect on Monday if you are going to the game. And even if you're not going to the game, kind of just how to maneuver and navigate yourself down here. And then I was also at a big event today, Tailgate Central. It was an amazing event. I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. I have pictures and videos, and that event's going to be happening all weekend long at the convention center down here in Miami Beach. So stay tuned for that. I'll get into all of that. And then before we let you guys go and enjoy your long weekend, we're going to talk a little Dolphins. Dolphins have a GM. We're still in a head coach search, but we do have a GM in place. So that's one step forward, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, and like you said, jam-packed weekend. It's a holiday on Monday, but they're going to play football, so it's going to be a very captivating crowd, very captivating audience. We're still trying to figure out if it's going to be 50-50, if it's going to be 60-40. A lot of Indiana fans have made their way down.
Yeah.
Some of them don't have tickets, but they're planning on being inside the building on Monday night. But, yeah, it's a holiday, MLK Day, Dr. King's day. But people will be off, and people will be tuned into their television sets. They'll have a monster audience to see the undefeated 15-0 Indiana Hoosiers and the Heisman Trophy winner returning back, the hometown boy, returning back to Miami. So storylines galore, and we're going to talk about it all shortly here. Shout out to Brent in the room. Good evening, Brent. Happy Friday. Happy weekend kickoff.
So there's one thing I want to mention. Lou has a habit for when I suggest, hey, let's go away, in his head, he has his calendar. So he knows, like, hey, if I say I want to go away in April won't do baseball. If I say June, it can't happen because of NBA and NHL finals. So a few weeks and months back, we were looking at this weekend to go to Orlando. And Lou mentioned, and I'll be the first to admit, right? When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm telling you right now. I said, hey, that weekend, your Wildcats are playing at UCF. It's a long weekend. Let's go to Orlando. And you made the comment, wait, it's a national championship. What if the Canes are in it? A-R-E. And I said, Lou, man, I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs. I said, let's just go ahead and book our trip to Orlando. Oh. And sure enough, here we are.
That's right.
We are still going to Orlando tomorrow, but I got to give it to you.
That's all right. Let's not talk about that. We're coming back on Monday. We're coming back on Monday, and we will be, be back in the home. We'll be passing on the Turnpike, Hard Rock Stadium, to check out the scene before the big game on Monday night. Shout out to Paul in the house. Paul is watching from across the pond, my man.
Hi, Paul.
All right. So without further ado, guys, let's bring on our guest. You know him from 305 Sports Now. We were actually a guest on his show last night.
With Tony.
We had a great time last night on his show, and he is for the, I believe, third out of fourth consecutive week here.
I know. You got to put him on the payroll.
Coming in because we got to talk about the U, baby. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing great. And before we start, I just wanted to say, Ashley, I saw that horrible billboard sign you were talking about yesterday on my show. It's literally right by my school, which is kind of like funny. So when I got on the Palmetto to go home today, I saw that ridiculous maroon IU on there as well. And I'm like, someone needs to throw paintballs
Well,
at her.
here's the thing. You saw one on the Palmetto, and that's not the
Yeah.
one I see because when I go to work, I don't go to the Palmetto. I get off probably like 3 miles before the Palmetto. So that even gets me more mad because that means they not only have the one by the airport on 57th, they also have one now on the Palmetto.
Yeah, right by
What
my
is
school.
this?
Right by my school. So when I get on the Palmetto, I see that ridiculous sign with Fernando Mendoza and Christy NATTY on it.
Crazy. Yeah.
Crazy.
Damn
All right, so
Hoosiers.
listen, before we get into the breakdown, the actual X and O's of the games, I want to go over some of the side stories here. We mentioned the top one. You want to address it about as far as Fernando coming back?
No, it's the biggest story. I do want to mention, I actually met his uncle today. I probably spent 15 minutes talking to his uncle as I was getting Lou's Modelo jersey made. And we were talking and he said, oh, my nephew's playing on Monday. And I said, and he wasn't wearing anything school colors. He was neutral. And I said, oh, who's your nephew? And he said, this is how he said, the quarterback of Indiana. And I stopped, right? And I said, the quarterback Indiana. I said, that's Mendoza. And I said that. And he was like, yeah, that's my nephew. I said, what? So I have all the ins and outs. Mendoza, his idol growing up, Tom Brady. Huge Tom Brady fan, Patriots fan, but Canes for football. Everything. And I literally said to him, I said, what you see with this kid on TV, the politeness, the relationship with God, the this, that. I said, is that really how he is? He goes, he has been like that since he was a child. Wow. So, I mean, everything we see from this kid on and off the field, on and off the camera is who this kid is. But the story is beautiful. Fernando Mendoza went to school down here at Columbus High School in Miami, and then didn't get the opportunity to play at the University of Miami, which would have been his choice to play. And so it took his talents elsewhere, ended up at the University of Indiana, where he is at now, ends up winning the Heisman Award, which is, he's the first Cuban-American. His grandparents were born in Cuba, so that makes him Cuban-American. And it's a beautiful story. His mother has MS. She's had it for so many years. So that's
Cuban of American descent. It's the right way to say it. He was born here. He's American of Cuban descent is the proper terminology. He was definitely born here. So, but no, yeah, it's a big story. I actually, fun fact, I went to Columbus my first year of high school. I transferred out of there. Will, if you remember, a former great Hurricane, Daniel Ferguson, running back. I had the football coach, Dennis Lavelle, great football coach from Columbus, was my math teacher. And I was a freshman. I was only there 1 year, but he often had me go get Daniel Ferguson out of class because he was in high demand. He broke all the records who after the fact were broken by Frank Gore. But Daniel Ferguson was a big deal. And so I went to Columbus my first year as well. But Fernando went here as well. You mentioned that he ended up in Indiana, Heisman Trophy winner this year, but he was first at Cal. So that's the big story there. And what do you make of Fernando Mania, as many people in the country are calling it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great story, and he's a very likable young man. Like you said, he's very respectful. He's God-fearing as well, which is something that a lot of people like to see out of their athletes as well. But not only that, you could also tell that he's very genuine, when he's interviewed, and he's very authentic. There's no like, oh, he's a phony. They can't, he comes across as like what you see on television is who he is as a person. So he's very relatable to people. Was supposed to Manny Diaz, I think, offered him a walk-on scholarship as a walk-on. He didn't want to be a walk-on player. He wanted to play. So that's how he ended up in Cal, hit the portal. His brother was already in Indiana, and that's how he ended up becoming a Hoosier, going to Indiana as well. So, I mean, it's a great story. Like, Hoosier fans have been very, how can I say this? We talked about this yesterday, a little brazen, on our podcast, on our social media. And I'm kind of surprised because before this game even started, or before the matches were even, made, and when the match was officially made as well, Canes fans have been very good to Fernando and have been very respectful of the accomplishments that Indiana has had this year, to say the least. So I mean, it is what it is. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy for Fernando. I want to beat him Monday night, as well, because again, I'm a Canes fan through and through. But he has his journey, his backstory with his parents, his mom in particular as well. To go from a walk-on to starting at Cal to going to the portal to Heisman Trophy. No one ever, that man was never on anyone's radar to win the Heisman Trophy this year. They even considered like a top 5 quarterback coming into the season. And look what he's done. As a matter of fact, when he was like 15 touchdowns to 1 pick, I was like, why is this guy not even a Heisman conversation?
Yeah.
as well. I was hearing like Trinidad Chambliss. I was hearing, of course, Carson Beck before.
Pavia was another one that was
Pavia was another one was being
Diego
talked about. I'm like, why
Pavia.
is it talk about Fernando? I mean, look at his numbers, and lo and behold, he ends up winning the Heisman Trophy. So yeah, I'm proud of him. I'm also of Cuban American descent. I'm very proud of him. And he's a Miamian as well. But again, Monday night, man, that all goes out the window though. It's all Canes.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's going to be, it's a monster story. Just returning the homecoming. He wanted to play here. Twice was passed over with him ending up at Cal and then in Indiana where he is now. So, he wants to prove a point. It's just a huge story. Undefeated Heisman Trophy winner coming back home is monster story. The other side story here is the Hurricanes being the visiting team in their own home stadium. Of course, they haven't played, believe it or not, the Hard Rock in almost 2 months. They went on the road in Pittsburgh at the end of November, and then obviously their 4 wins or the 3 wins on the road in the CFP. So they are technically the visiting team. You want to put up the field. But they even though they're the visiting team, the only thing that they're really going to have as a change is that they are going to be on the visiting sideline. They're still using their own locker room. Fun fact, the Hurricanes have their own locker room apart from the Miami Dolphins. They are going to be in their regular locker room. The Indiana Hoosiers will be using the Miami Dolphins locker room. You see a picture here taken a couple hours ago. This is the first look that I saw of the field dressed up. There you see the Miami end zone painted, and on the other side you got Indiana. And then you see on the lower left-hand side there, the Hurricanes tunnel. They will still be coming out that tunnel. I think we could all expect the smoke to make its way into the tunnel when they come out, as per usual. And yeah, so everything is the same with the exception that they're going to be on the visiting sideline. So with that into mind, they're also, by the way, using their same practice facility. Obviously, they didn't have to give that up. Nice. So with all those things in play, how do you think that has any factor or impact in the the routine that the team is accustomed to, Will?
Yeah, I don't think it'll have an impact at all. I think it's going to be practice as usual. Their road teams, it's just semantics in name only. They are technically the home team. They're sleeping in their own beds. They're practicing, in their own field over at Green Tree, over at the University of Miami. They're using the same locker room in which they always dress up in before every single game, and they're coming out of the tunnel, I'm assuming, with the smoke. I know a few years ago, they tried not having them do that. I think it was the 87 championship, and Jimmy Johnson's like, no, we're doing that. And they did the fire
famous story.
Yeah, it's a great story, and they came out. So I still assume that they'll do the smoke. Before I jump on to my next point, Contra 628, very good question. Yes, and yes, that is the greatest team of all time in 2001, and yes, that is the best collection of NFL talent coming out of university as well. So both questions are correct. They're yes and yes. All right, that is the best team. That team was absolutely dominant. They destroyed every single team, including ranked teams. That team was so good. I'll put it as that team was so good. If they wouldn't have scored an offensive touchdown, they would have gone 8-4. They would have made a bowl game with just the defense. That's how good that team was. So yes, and yes to both questions.
Incredible. Yeah,
no doubt. Yeah. So going back, I don't think it'll affect them. No problem, Contra. I don't think it'll affect them at all. Miami has only lost 1 home game in the last 2 seasons. So I think there's something to be said about the atmosphere the Rock brings as well. And I know Coach Cristobal, and I've said it before, when it comes to big games, Miami's always been prepared under Coach Cristobal. The issues have been when they play teams that aren't at the same talent level, per se, like a Louisville and SMU a few years ago, Middle Tennessee State, and so on. So I'm not worried about the preparation. I'm not worried about the game plan. I'm not worried about anything as far as it goes. I think this team will be locked in. I think that being in your home stadium, even though you're the road team, is going to be very essential to this game. And I hope it's more than 50-50, man. I really do hope that Canes fans can show out because the prices are ridiculous as far as the ticket goes. And I don't know if you heard about this, but if you buy a ticket to park, but you don't have a ticket to the game at 7:30, they kick you out from tailgating. So it sucks. It really does.
So they actually they changed that because originally what people heard was that you couldn't even go in tailgate at all without a ticket. So they clarified their words and said, listen, you can come in to tailgate, but at kickoff, you're out. So it does make it a little more entertainable for some people who can't afford that game ticket but still want the experience. And then, Will, you mentioned that they get to sleep in their own beds. Well, tonight they aren't because just an hour ago, not at 6 o'clock. So, about an hour ago, there was a huge police escort from Coral Gables up right over here by us in Miami Beach, where the Canes will be staying for the next 2 nights, Friday night and Saturday, 3 nights actually, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday night, at a wonderful hotel, guys, I tell you. They're staying at the Fountain Blue in Miami Beach. So they had a huge police escort. It's a 17-mile trek, but they took their time and everything from Coral Gables to Fountain Blue. So that's where the Canes are staying. And the Hoosiers are staying at the Intercontinental. So in reference, that is more downtown Miami by Bayside, where the Kaseya Center is, where the Miami Heat plays. So still in the Miami vicinity for both teams, but very much in different areas of Miami.
And I find that fascinating because the NCAA still has, obviously, to fulfill their obligation to house both teams that play in the game, even though Miami, again, as you mentioned, a 17-mile trek, they are the home team. But yes, the NCAA, they're saving on 2 things: that they don't have to pay for Miami's air flight because they're already here, and they don't have to rent out a practice facility because they ended up practicing at the home campus. But they still are going to foot the hotel bill at the very expensive, by the way, Fountain Blue for the next 3 nights. And as is customary, this game is very expensive, as Will just brought up. These prices are astronomical.
They're not dropping at all.
They are not dropping. The get-in price figures to be between $3,000 and $3,500 before kickoff, and I think it's going to hold because there's a lot of people that came down here, made the trip from Indiana without a ticket. So I think those prices will hold to be. And look, but the NCAA is getting a lot of money off advertisement, TV rights, merchandise, which we'll get into a second here. So yeah, it's nice that the Hurricanes will have a nice little 3-day stay in the hotel. So
on the beach too, guys. Fountain Blue is on the beach. So go downstairs, you're on the Atlantic Ocean. And the Intercontinental is, even though not on the beach, it's stunning as well. So these young men and these coaching staff are definitely having a great experience with just the hotel as it is.
Yeah. And so, all right, well, when we start breaking this game down, let's go back to something that we touched upon on your show last night. Is this the
wait, Danny just came in.
Oh, all right. Looks like my brother's joining us live here as well.
Let's see.
Let's bring him in here.
Long time no see.
There we go. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
How's it going? What's up, Will? How are you, man?
Good, man. Good. Excited, man. I'm totally excited. I'm anxiously nervous.
Yes. Yeah, I get it.
So I'm excited for Monday to get here.
Absolutely. No, I was just on campus now. I just saw the team leave to the hotel to the Fountain Blue from campus. It was awesome.
We literally just finished talking about that, how they're going to the Fountain Blue. Hoosiers are at Intercontinental down here. How it's a 17-mile track from campus to Fountain Blue, but they shut down everything completely. So they just made their way here safe. They took the Julia Tuttle Causeway, and they've made it safe and sound. Long trip, but they're there.
Yeah. So now we got to just wait these next 3 days before kickoff. Danny, you're going to be there, so I know you're extra excited. And so we're getting ready to talk about Fernando Mendoza. We had discussed that a little bit. Did you have the graphic of last year's game? And we mentioned this on your show last night, where you see here that Mendoza actually played against the Hurricanes last year while he was at Cal in that tremendous comeback. Obviously, Cal, not as formidable opponent as the Indiana Hoosiers are, but you see here he was 11-22, so not as high efficient as he's been here in these last 2 playoff games. 285 yards, the 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he actually got 20 yards on the ground. So let's start with you, Will, first. Will, what do you make of the Hurricanes getting a little bit of a glimpse at Fernando Mendoza last year at Cal Berkeley?
That was that game lasted until 3 a.m, right?
Yes, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game ended really late. It really did. I still remember like 2 a.m. or something like that, if I could recall. You saw potential there. He was being downplayed quite a bit when we went over there, as Cal wasn't a very good football team, but they were very good as far as turning teams over. That was what they were known for last year. They had a very good secondary that was like ball hawkish. But everybody thought Mendoza was going to be like a whatever guy. But our defense was atrocious last year. The average like 35 points against ACC teams. So it's a different animal that he's going to be facing this upcoming Monday. And it's another animal for Miami as well, because he's obviously much better this season under Kirk Cinetti's and Mike Shanahan, by the way, his system, than he was in Cal as well. But he was able to get out of the pocket. He was able to run for first downs, as you saw as well. And when needed to be accurate, he was accurate in that game. You could tell by the numbers as well during that game. But a couple of those passes were basically missed tackles or bad angles taken by our defensive backs, and they were able to gain some good yards after catch or after contact in that game. So it was good to see him get a glimpse of him. You see the competitive poise as well. He almost won the game towards the end for Cal, but Wesley Bassane has something to say about that, and one of those drives as well. So it's going to be interesting as long as Miami's able to get him moved, from sideline to sideline versus having him sit in the pocket. We have a good shot at rattling him.
All right. And Danny, what do you think? Do you think getting a little look at him last year, does that help with getting familiarized with what he could do? Sizing him up. Do you think that has anything to do with what we're going to see on Monday night, or is it just a throwaway game, completely different opponent this go around?
I think, like Will said, the defense is way different. I just don't see the comparison. His weapons are different. Everything that he pointed to is spot on, and so I think it's definitely something that at least the one connection. I don't know if you guys talked about it before I got on, but the one connection that is interesting is our defensive coordinator Heatherman worked under Cignetti in James Madison, and so that was huge, and I see that as something that might be a factor, even though I know the teams are different. I'd go more comparison to that than anything, but I think the best tape here in this whole thing that I'm feeling good about. I'm as anxious as Will and a lot of people deep down, but the one thing I got feeling good about is breaking down the biggest comparison right now. These teams, Ohio State, and the way that we played against Ohio State, the way they played against Ohio State. I think that's what's got me feeling the best right now as to what we can do to make this thing a reality and win this thing, win number 6.
I remember that Cal game. We went to Weston that game. Our buddy, you guys know JD, had a party at the Carolina Ale House. And so we went to Weston, gamed it into 2, got home at 3. But I will tell you, I think it was JD saying, oh, this quarterback's from down here and whatever. And it's just crazy how much difference a year, how life can just totally do a 180. And it's who would have thought if you were to tell us, hey, next year this guy's going to be playing against you in the national championship. He's going to win a Heisman. You'd be like, bro, no way. We just beat him. So just goes to show you life gives you so many unexpected turns, and it's wild. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, Fernando Mendoza's ended up going from a doormat Cal team and program to Indiana, who's now the standard as a Heisman Trophy winner. And then on the flip side, Miami is, as Danny and Will both mentioned, their defense has done a complete 360 here, and they are now a formidable defense under Corey Heatherman. And we're excited to see these two clash on Monday night.
Danny, so Danny and I and Jenny, we were at the event today. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We had a great shopping spree. I'm so glad you weren't there.
Actually, you got me in trouble there, man. You got me in trouble.
I did, because I said, Danny, this is so nice. Jess does this, because they're diehard. They're diehard Canes. So, Danny, that's the one pullover that you got, right? That's a new one?
Yeah. I got the national championship logo, and then I got the championship hat.
You bought that hat, too. That's the hat I told you
about. Oh, look at that.
So, we're ready to go. And Jenny got her sweater, too. So, we're locked in for the game because we know it's going to be in the late 50s, early 60s. The only thing I'm not too thrilled about, they want us to wear orange, and I feel like that's going to compete with their red. I felt green would have been a better color.
So I have some game day info that the Canes posted on X just a little bit ago. Hard Rock Stadium opens to the fan. The actual stadium opens at 4:30. Canes fans are encouraged to wear orange to the game day, like you said. Rally towels will be available for fans attending the game. So you will get a rally towel. And then rally towels will be available at the bottom of all Hard Rock Stadium ramps, at the bottom of the escalators for the 200, 300 levels. So it's orange. Even the post that they did they posted in orange. Yeah. Speaking of orange, we bought you a shirt. Danny, you have the same shirt. You guys did a little thing. So this is your orange shirt. And you got a little...
Ashley had the day off. I had to actually put in some hours of work today before I joined her. But thank you, Danny and Jenny, for watching over her. Will, I know you're going out there.
Will's going tomorrow.
Will's going tomorrow.
His son and his wife.
Some of the things you have in store besides the great merch, they will be, speaking of towels, I got a rally towel as well there today. Ashley bought a very nice shirt. It says Natty. So pretty cool.
And I also bought, Danny said that's the sweater that I bought.
Yes. Oh, the girl. Okay, there we go.
Very
Nice.
comfy.
And then if you go down there at
Oh,
the Convention Center, Miami Beach, Modelo is actually making custom jerseys, and Ashley had mine made with my last name on it. There,
Wait a second. How do you know that's for you and your last name? That's my last name as well. So
This is
Listen,
big
and
jersey. I don't even wear
and
this,
that's-
but
Guys, that's free. That jersey was free.
everything.
it's free from what I heard. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Really?
yeah.
Free,
Yeah.
customized free jersey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get over there, man.
So, a lot of
No,
cool
there was a
stuff.
ton of
Oh,
good
no.
stuff, man.
They're like a bear tomorrow at 10.
Yeah.
No, get there early. Yeah, that's why I took the day off today to go, because really I feel like the weekend is going to be packed, and there was really
Yes.
not that many people there at opening today. So if you can go early, I would suggest. And man, between the Chick-fil-A, I mean, there's a ton of stuff.
Let's talk about it a little more since Danny, you were there. I'm
Show the
going to
pictures.
show some pictures. So one of my favorite things, Danny, this is after you guys left. I took Lou back to my favorite area, which was the animals. They had a lemur. I
oh
held a lemur, for heaven's sake. So that's me and a lemur.
I hope you wash your hands, because I mean, I don't know if that got his
But
rabies
Lou,
shot.
look at and the thing is, okay, if you guys look at its eyes, the eyes are all bulged out because Lou was drinking Dr. Pepper.
I went to the Chick-fil-A
Oh.
station. They had a Dr.
Yes.
Pepper float. And so I'm taking this picture and I have that in my hand. And this lemur was all about what it was in
It
my
was like,
cup. He must be a big Dr. Pepper and an ice cream fan, that lemur.
So this is before you actually go in. So when you go into the convention center, they have like a whole area, but this is like the pre-area. They're going to give you a wristband. I still have mine on, but this is outside. They also have a side for Indiana as well.
Yes.
This is 2026, and I'm gonna just here. This is the
This is
trophy.
the trophy. This is
Yeah, they
and-
got all, and they have all the New Year's Six trophies, the Sugar Bowl, all of them in the Fiesta Bowl. And then the coolest thing is the rings. They have all the rings for the last 10 years of all the champions. And then tomorrow you're going to a great time because they were setting up for Media Day. So they have the college game day guys are going to be there, and then UM and Indiana will be there. I think their times are specific, but they already had booths set up as to who the players were, the coaches. So it's going to be awesome tomorrow. I know it's going to be a lot more people, but it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, and go back to the championship trophy. So you mentioned that all the trophies, as Danny mentioned, are all there. The Rose Bowl is kind of weird. It's just a coronation of roses. And I didn't want to take a picture of that one because Indiana won the Rose Bowl. So I only took a picture with the Cotton Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl, to go and sync what Miami's doing. But this is the actual championship trophy that will be given out on Monday night. They had a big sign there that says, "Do not touch," and it said underneath, "Not replica. This is the official trophy." So this is it. This is the official trophy that will be, again, handed out to the winner on Monday night. We made sure that we didn't touch it or get anywhere near it to jinx it, but that's pretty cool that you can see that.
Then they had the ACC tent, the Big Ten tent, and then so I'm just gonna play. I made a 1 minute video clip, so I'm just gonna go ahead and play that here. Well, let me remind you.
See the crystal visions. I keep my visions to myself. It's only me who wants to wrap around your dreams and have you any dreams you like to sell. Dreams of loneliness, like a heartbeat drives you mad. In the stillness of remembering what you had, what you lost. Thunder only happens when it's raining.
So no, like that's where'd he go? Okay, so
So
that's
apparently there's a petting zoo in this place as well. So we'll bring some animal crackers out there.
no, okay, but no, it's there's just so much, and like I didn't even capture I captured like 60%. They have haircuts.
It was as good as the NFL experience, the one that they do for the Super Bowl. I thought, if not better. I mean, very well organized and put together.
Well, if you need a haircut, they're giving free haircuts. Super clips, they cut my bangs and everything. Like they did not spare any details. And I will tell you, there is one dangerous part of the whole entire experience, and that is the store. The store,
Great items there.
Yeah,
everything.
and I've been on campus. I've been to the All Cane store. Not the merch doesn't compare. Here, this is the real deal. Championship stuff. Not embroidered. It's embroidered on. It's not just a sticker or anything. It's really good stuff.
Yeah. So highly encourage anybody who's watching this in South
Yes.
Florida, or if you're making your way down to South Florida for the big game on Monday night and you're in town leading up to it, highly encourage you to go down to the Convention Center in Miami Beach and check out the amazing display and all the great things that they have going on there.
So with that, I just want to tell you guys the other events that are happening this weekend in Miami Beach. Miami Beach is kind of like the host of the event. So the one I just showed you was the Tailgate Fan Festival. That's at the Miami Beach Convention Center today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Doors open at 10, close at 6. Then tomorrow at the Miami Beach Convention Center. So Will, this is for you. It's the media day. So it's going to be heavy media presence. There's going to be commentators there, broadcasters there. So that's the big focus tomorrow, is the media day. Then they have the play fiesta playlist. So that's the one on the beach. They take the South Beach, pretty much South Beach, and they put big stages up there. They have free concerts there all weekend. So that's going to go on Saturday and Sunday. Then they have the 5K. That starts in South Point Park, goes all the way around for both teams to participate in that. So if you guys want to get a little run in, there is a 5K on Sunday. Then they have a really fancy dinner at like a bar club. And then, of course, the tailgate at Hard Rock Stadium. So there is literally something to do for the fitness fanatics out there, the foodies out there, the family-oriented ones, the clubbers, you name it, like tons going on down here all weekend.
All right. But all this is leading up to, obviously, Monday night. And let's get into it right now. Great events. That's all fun to take part in. But look, it's all about Monday night. That's when it all counts. That's what it's all about. That, win or, suffer if you don't end up getting that victory. It's all about that game on Monday night. The Hurricanes, the 10th seed, have made this incredible run to the final to come back home. They're 13-2 overall, going up against the Indiana Hoosiers, the only undefeated team in America, 15-0. And again, of course, with the Heisman Trophy winner in Fernando Mendoza, the local boy, the hometown kid, coming back to the Hard Rock. So currently, it opened up at 7 points. Indiana favored by 7, and now it's up to 8.5. So, guys, let's get into it. Well, you start. What are you looking for at this game? What needs to happen initially out the gate, and what do the Hurricanes need to do in order to bring this thing home?
Well, I think Miami, I would like to see Miami score first. I think that's the one thing that I think is very important. This team is not built to play from behind, even though they've won games being from behind, but that's not really how this team is built. This team is built to have a lead, maintain a lead, and grind you into submission at the end of the game. So I think it's important that Miami, if whoever gets the ball first, if the Canes get the ball first, I think it's important that they march down the field and make a quick statement and score. Oregon actually did that. Their second possession, they were able to march down and score against Indiana. The problem is that Oregon just decided they wanted to lose the game and just give the ball back to Indiana the whole entire time. But that's what I think Miami needs to do. And on defense, I think they should mix zone and man. And the reason why I say that is because Fernando is able to run outside the pocket. And if the defensive back's back is to the quarterback, he could burn you for some yards. He is pretty athletic. I just want to say that. But you also basically just confuse them, mix like you do with everybody else, mix your blitzes as well. Just keep your man, don't make any mistakes, no false starts, the usual, no false starts, nothing extra, right? After the whistle is blown and so on. So if Miami just plays their game, if Carson Beck could just keep the game, manage the game well, Mark Fletcher is able to find the holes and go 4 or 5 yards a pop, every single, most of his carries in general. And of course, if Malachi Toney is bracketed, if a CJ Daniels or Keelan Merrick can step up like it did in the previous games, there's no reason why Miami shouldn't beat Indiana. Indiana is not invincible. Everybody makes it seem like they're this invincible football team. They are a well-coached football team that has a good scheme, and they execute their schemes to the coach's liking, and they execute it to perfection. That is why Indiana is here. Okay, they are not the most talented team. They're not the greatest college football team of all time, like I heard some clown say on one of his telecasts. All right, they're not the greatest of all time. They can be beat if you do not make mistakes. If you play physical enough, in general, the Miami Hurricanes could come out with a national championship. But if you extracurricular, if you have 10 penalties, you're giving the game to Indiana, and that's pretty much how I think the game's gonna go. Ball control, run the football, make for Fernando Mendoza go through all his progressions, sack him, pressure him, and just do what you've been doing. Stop the running game as well. Stop Hemby and stop Black in general, and you should have a Canes victory. I know it sounds very simple, but that's what you have to do. The only thing is that I will say this is that Indiana is very tricky with the front four. They like to play with a lot of stunts, and so on. And that could kind of they're trying to put our lineman in a position. Who are we going to block? Miami can't fall for that. That's where Heatherman comes in, and it's like, this is what Signetti likes to do. So this is what we have to prepare for. So that's another thing I wanted to add.
So Danny, if you were Coach Mario Cristobal, how are you going to win this game on Monday?
I really I like our chances. I think, kind of what Will was saying, to piggyback off of that, they are a beatable team. I understand that it's, they have some blowouts on their resume, but you look at the Iowa game, the Penn State game, and the Ohio State game, all those three teams have in common great defenses. Yeah. And that's what we are going to present to them. So I think we can keep it low scoring. I don't see them scoring 50 on us. I think it's just going to be a matter of, like you said, ball control. If we can run the ball, get 4, 5, 6 yards of carry, kind of win the possession game. I think then at that point, really, it's going to come down to, you make the right plays, a field goal here, a good special teams play. I think that's going to be all the difference. And then, of course, penalties. If we played the game that we played against Ohio State and play clean like that, I feel really good. If we start to give it away, you can't, we tried to give it away to Ole Miss. You can't do that to this team for sure. So, I think that's the recipe. I know, like he said, it sounds simple, but this is a beatable team. And we just got to go out there, kind of weather that, if there's a storm at the beginning, but weather at the beginning, or if we could strike first. And then it's just going to be a settle-in game. And I think it's going to be it's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be a good game.
I think a big part is that you want to try so hard to force Indiana offensively to create mistakes. But as Will mentioned last night on the show, they're pretty much perfect. Mendoza's like perfect back there. He completes everything, and it's like you can only control how much you control. But if we get some lucky breaks, it would be nice to see him have some boo-boos back there.
Yeah.
No, the other good thing also is I heard there was the refs, if I'm not mistaken, from the Ohio State game or from the Texas A&M game, I think. Which both of those games were called fairly well. There wasn't a lot of flags, and they let them play. And we're a physical defense, so I hope that they let us play, and I think that'll be beneficial to us.
Yeah,
agreed.
Just one more thing I wanted to add as well. Like, with the exception of Marcel Reed, who was a little erratic before the season ended, Trinidad Chambliss and Julian Sang were like very efficient passers. They don't throw interceptions. Julian Sang got picked off twice. And Trinidad Chambliss should have intercepted 4 times. Miami will force you to make mistakes, and I think we're going to see that with Fernando.
Yeah,
I can see that. So I mean, let's hope that that's the case, that he does make those mistakes. Guys, if you are watching on X or Twitter, make sure you come on over to YouTube.
George joined us.
Make sure you like. Hey, George, how are you? Thanks for joining for the Fins Faithful Pod. If you want us to stick around, man, we are going to be talking some Dolphins here at the end, but the story of town, for a long time, has been this amazing run by the Hurricanes. But again, if you're watching over on X or Twitter, come over to YouTube, like tonight's episode, and subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Guys, I want to go back to what we were talking about, is how Indiana is not this invincible team. I know that the rankings fluctuate throughout the year, but Miami actually played more ranked teams. Now, look, no one's going to get confused, the Big Ten with the ACC, but Miami did play Notre Dame at number 6, USF at number 18, Florida State at the time, believe it or not, at number 18, and they finished with a destruction of Pittsburgh that was ranked 22 on the road. Meanwhile, Indiana, they played 2 teams during the regular season that were ranked, number 9 Illinois and number 3 Oregon. They won both those games, but they didn't have this monster schedule. Now, where they did make up for it were these 2 traumatic, drastically big wins in the playoffs, demolishing against Alabama 38-3, and obviously last week's destruction of the Oregon Ducks 56-22. But that, even the Big Ten championship game, Danny, as you mentioned, a 13-10, defensive battle with Ohio State, that the Hurricanes, if you're going to look at film of any game, that's the one you want to look at. You want to, keep this a low-scoring game and try to win the defense. So what do you guys think of, Danny, we'll start with you, in terms of Ohio State's schedule? Yes, they're undefeated. Yes, they've been perfect all year. But save for the last 2 playoff games, it hasn't been just, as dominant as it looks like on paper. And where can you see some flaws here that the Hurricanes can pick on?
Yeah, I mean, it's what we said. At the end of the day, when they played a tough defense, they really, they really kind of if we can hit Mendoza and we can make them, be a little rattled, they show that they are beatable. And so, and then also what you said earlier, yeah, everybody talks about the Big Ten, everybody talks about the SEC, but finishing the year and looking at the bowl games, the ACC did really well, and I think people are realizing that the ACC is a pretty strong conference. Louisville and SMU were solid teams. SMU, I mean, there was talks of them making the playoffs if they would have won the ACC. So, and then Duke did what they did. So the ACC was a very formidable conference. We had our moments there, but we did well. And so I think, again, the game plan is there. I think you look, of course, to the Ohio State game, but again, Iowa and Penn State, I mean, you show how to beat these guys, and Heatherman and Dawson. They've been studying at this all week, so I got faith that they're going to have the right plan ready.
All right, Will?
Yeah, I mean, everybody likes to make a little bit too much about Miami losing to Louisville and losing to SMU. For goodness sakes, man, Notre Dame lost last year to NIU and still made the championship game. So with that nonsense as far as it goes. Louisville has NFL players on that team, and they threw the kitchen sink at us to beat us. Okay, they used trick plays and 3 quarterbacks out at the first drive. So it's not like it was just straight up. They added some trickery to it. Chris Bell, the receiver, people were saying after that game is a first-round pick, and I agree. He's got the measurables to be that. That being said, SMU beat a top 25 team in their bowl game in Arizona and beat them pretty convincingly. I know the score will indicate that, but they dominated most of that game, so they're not as bad as people make them out to be. So that's already out the window, and I've heard that, a bunch of times from other people from other podcasts and commenters from other schools. Like, oh, you guys lost to SMU. It's over, bro. We're in the championship game. That game's irrelevant right now. Stay on topic. Okay, so going back to what Danny said. In general, yeah, man, the measurable to see the blueprint to how to beat Indiana is the Penn State game, the first Oregon game, not the second one,
true.
the first Oregon game, and the Ohio State game. Ohio State, I think, got to Mendoza like 3 or 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. They were able to put pressure on him as well. We neutralized their defensive line through most of the game. So that being said as well. So I think that, and again, the thing with them is that they don't have any weaknesses because they really don't make mistakes. They're like the least penalized team in college football. The thing with Indiana is that Indiana understands that they're not the most talented team on the field. They understand they're not the 5 stars that Oregon is, or that Miami is, or that Ohio State is, and that makes somebody very dangerous because they know their limitations, but they also know what they're very good at, and that's what Coach Cignetti has done with that team. He's gotten the best that his players can bring and made it a success. So Indiana doesn't have the fastest receivers. I know people say Becker's speedy. They're the fastest, but they're big and they're veterans. So that's a mismatch. Even if you have a 5-star kid that's 19 years old, 180 pounds, versus a 225-pound wide receiver runs a 4.5. I mean, 4 or 5 inches, that's an advantage. So Indiana exploits that against their opponent. So that's the one thing. However, once again, we have the advantage on the trenches. If Miami can win the war with their offensive line and their defensive line, this game is going to be, pretty much a solo rock fight, but Miami could come up with a victory because Indiana is not invincible. All you have to do is take away what they're good at, and just lean on them. In the fourth quarter, if you have a lead, and you will win the national championship come in a Monday.
Yeah. No, and I think the lead's important, to be playing with the lead on the Hurricane side, because we mentioned last night on your show, how Indiana has 2 grid backs and Kalon Black and Roman Hemby, and, they're 1A and 1B. I mentioned, reminds me a lot of, old Auburn in Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown. Those 2 running backs, they both put up production on the same speed. So what is on the other side of the ball? What does Dawson have to do with Fletcher and giving Beck time to make the right plays and balance out the offense there? Danny, what do you think about that?
No, yeah, I think similar game plan to what we've been doing all playoff. Run the ball. I understand Dawson's going to have a trick play or 2. We got way too fancy with the trick plays against Texas A&M. I don't think he's going to do that again. But wrinkle him in there. But otherwise, it's like you said, everybody's going to be paying attention to Tony, like what Will said. Everybody's going to be paying attention to Malachi. So CJ and Marion are going to be there. Bauman as the tight end, has been making some plays here and there. And then, you can get Fletcher or Brown in the backfield on a little screen pass. So the plays are going to be there. I'd love to see Beck try to go down the field. He hasn't done that too much. I know the arm maybe might be an issue or something, but, I'd like to see one or two plays down the field. But other than that, I think the game plan is exactly what we've been doing. They can watch all the film they want. If our O-line gives Beck time, I trust that he's going to find the receiver. We're going to just move the chains. We're not fancy with it.
No, he was.
Wait, there?
We lost Danny. Danny coming in choppy. All right. Well, you mentioned before your prediction, but he's going to come back in. I think he'll come back in. So let's leave him there. You mentioned before, you keep saying Canes outshot, Canes will do it. So final answer, right? Do you think the Canes will win the Natty on Monday and be the 2026 college football national champions? And if you do, what do you think the score will be?
I think it'll be 24-21. I think Miami wins by 3.
Close.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 24-21. Miami wins by 3. I think that they'll get a couple touchdowns here and there. But I do think it's going to be 24-21.
Lou, what about your score prediction?
Oh, man, this is a tough one, man.
You on the spot. Let's put other people on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay, just say it.
I wonder if a team's
Okay.
gone 16-0, not with these extra games, right? I don't know if it's ever happened. Man,
Be honest. It's okay.
yeah,
You're
this
fine.
is a tough one for
It's
me.
okay.
I obviously want it so bad. I think Indiana right now is a team of destiny. They've never been to this stage in their program history. The Hurricanes do have 5 national championships. They're obviously going for number 6. But I think that the story of Fernando Mendoza coming back home, I don't want it to happen.
No, it's okay.
But him coming back home, Heisman Trophy winner, undefeated season.
No, just say it, man. Just say it.
I got Indiana winning 28-23.
Okay, Russ drops in. Russ from Pennsylvania says Miami 30, Hoosiers 24. This is a man who doesn't believe in the Dolphins, but he believes in the Canes. I love
There
it.
you go.
All right, then you also have Rolexer thinks 27-17 Miami. Okay. Danny, let you back in. Final
Danny,
score predictions.
I hope you missed my prediction, man. Did you give yours? Do you want to give yours now or
Last.
okay? Danny, I have Indiana winning this game, man. I'm sorry. I just I'm gonna speak to what I've seen the last
It's
couple
okay.
of weeks.
You're letting it appreciate it.
It's
okay.
tough. While I said that the regular season wasn't anything spectacular, they've had 2 dominant performances here in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're coming here. I had mentioned that they've never done this in their program's history before, and so I said Indiana 28-23. I hope I'm wrong.
It's okay.
What do you got, bro?
Yeah, sorry guys. With the convention center and heading over to seeing the team, phone died on me, so that's I had to
I
run
was
over
doing
to
it
a charger.
too.
But yeah, so I definitely wanted to hop on to give my prediction. I got 24-20 Miami. I think we're gonna keep this game close, and I think we're gonna be able to separate. And I like our chances. That's my score. I don't want to make it a dramatic field goal to win it. No, I just think maybe Indiana will have the ball to finish it, and I'd love to see our defense stop them and take this thing home.
So Danny says 24-20, and Will, you said 24-21, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are
Alright.
so you guys are right there. I mean, Will has a by field goal, and Danny says a little more cushion.
I will say if it comes down to the kicker, Carter Davis has been all over the place. So I hope it doesn't come down to his leg because I'd be a little nervous. But yeah, look, it could definitely. I predict a close game. It could definitely happen, and obviously the mission here is to bring number 6 in Miami. There's so many amazing things that when they wear their white tops, they've won 5 of the other championships with their white tops on. They've won 3 championships in Miami, even though obviously different system back then, but
Orange
so
Bowl,
much
yeah.
going. Yep, in the Orange Bowl. So we're going to hope that that's the case. What do you got for a prediction? Did you ask the lemur or did you ask?
I was gonna say, but you missed it too, because before the lemur and I was with Danny and Jenny, I was talking to a parrot. I was talking to one parrot, and the other parrot said, hello.
Oh yeah, Coco. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking to one, and the other one tried to get my attention, and the lady was like, he's a flirt. I don't know. I just love animals. All I'm just gonna say it's 17-10 Hoosiers.
Wow, low scoring game.
All right.
That's the Jenny. I hear my
I think you want Jenny. I think Jenny's got to give a score to break the tie.
Please.
Come
Yes.
on, come on,
Jenny,
Jenny.
come on here. This is my wife, Jenny. Here, hold on. All right,
I'm gonna say 13-10 Miami.
there we go.
Oh, another
Low
low
as well.
scoring game.
Low as well.
The
Okay.
ladies say it's
Yeah.
a low scoring game. Okay, all right.
All right,
Well,
so Lou and Ashley, I have to say something. Hopefully, it convinces you to change your prediction. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to say something. Okay, the difference between these two teams is that one is more battle tested than the other, and what I say that is that Miami had to go to College Station, faced basically tropical storm style winds in general, and they managed to and they found a way to win.
Kyle
They had to
Field.
take on the defending national champion in a very close game. Not a very close game, but it could have been a close game. Again, the crowd was more 50-50 in the Cotton Bowl than it was over there, in the Fiesta Bowl. Miami found the way to win. Miami went up against supposedly the best quarterback in the entire the best all-around quarterback, obviously Mendoza, but the best all-around quarterback in all the playoffs in Trinidad Chambliss. Miami, it was bumpy, but they found a way to win, right, as well. So my thing is, and taking off my Canes hat here, my thing is, Indiana hasn't really been tested, as far as the last couple games. It's been like over a month that they've really been challenged by another football team.
Yeah.
So I wonder how Indiana would respond if Miami did have a lead and Miami was being the more dominant team in the trenches. So I do that does come into play. And just to give you guys an example, 86 versus Penn State, Miami was the invincible juggernaut. Vinny Testaverde was a Heisman Trophy winner. Michael Irvin was your wide receiver. What did Penn State do? They forced 4 turnovers. They pressured Miami. It rattled the Canes. They didn't think that Penn State would bring it like that in general. And then again, even against Ohio State, even though we hate that as Canes fans, but let's be frank too, they forced 4 turnovers, in that 2002 championship game, and Miami was invincible. Andre Johnson, Sean Taylor, John Vilma, they're invincible, and Ohio State found the way to win because they were a more battle-tested team. So Miami in this situation, being at home, I think also helps. They're the team that has had to go through adversity, has lost leads, in some occasions, that's had to fight back. I don't know if Indiana will be ready for that, this time around, because they haven't had to face that in over a month. So taking off my Canes hat here, I'm just looking now from a more objective level of why I think Miami could actually pull this off and why I'm actually picking them to win. That's the same reason Josh Pate picked them, by the way. He picked them because of the trenches and because they're more battle tested than Indiana is.
We sure hope they win.
No,
I mean, we're going to Disney
nobody's-
this weekend. We're wearing all our,
Yeah.
and now that I think about it, I mean, we're big Disney people. We've gone to Disney a million times. There's a lot of Hoosier fans just in general that go
Yeah,
there. So
yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, they'll be in Miami. They won't be in Orlando
No,
this
Lou,
weekend.
some will be there. They've already booked the trip. The ones with
No,
the families and stuff.
If you're an Indiana fan and you're in the state, you're coming to Miami.
You guys are going to
Yeah,
hear this
yeah.
now. If we see more than 5 Indiana Hoosier fans in Epcot,
Okay,
you
all
buy
right,
me new
okay.
ears.
All right, listen, I'm with you, Will. I definitely could. I see it happening. I could definitely. There's no. I'm not here. I'm just. And I wish she would have had a different prediction. We didn't talk about it before
No,
because I don't want this to be.
Sorry.
This is SoFLo Sports Show. I don't want it to make it seem like if we're anti-Homer, we're anything but that. I just saying what I see based on what's happened in the last couple of games. The same way you mentioned that Indiana hasn't been in a close game. Either of those games Miami was in, could have gone the other way. And if not for Keontae Scott, interception, that pick 6, which Danny, you saw live, that was a momentum changer. And, it really put Ohio State behind the 8 ball. So they were all fringe victories. A victory is a victory. And no doubt they got that experience and they're coming back home now. But I just feel that Indiana's last 2 games were so dominant that I'm with you. The Hurricanes are going to have to score first. They cannot fall behind. As opposed to Indiana, if they fall behind, they know that they could score on a whim. And so I hope it doesn't happen. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Ashley's wrong. And I hope we're celebrating championship number 6 come Monday night.
Rolex said, did you guys see the tweet from Clemson looking for walk-ons?
No, it didn't.
Oh, my goodness.
But I did see the tweet from Darren Mensah. He's hitting the portal. I
Yeah,
saw that.
and it's in Miami, they're saying.
Yeah. I think he's going to have a do not contact, and I think he's going to be a cane.
I think their crystal ball is saying 100% to Miami because it ends tonight at midnight.
Excellent.
Yeah, so
All right.
we
Well,
got
we'll
our
see,
guy
but
for next
listen,
year.
That's
gotta
exactly.
thank-
That's next year.
We thank Manny again. Manny got us into the playoff with this ACC debacle thing, and then now we're taking his quarterback. So
There you go. That's right. That's very true. Thank you, Manny. Yes. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. All right, Danny, I know you got to run. You will be at the game on Monday night. That is incredible.
I will be.
I cannot wait for that, for you to experience it all. And we are saying it on the show as we've done, in the Cotton Bowl. When the Hurricanes take care of business, you'll be live on the post-game show to celebrate, right? So save your phone battery.
I did. I got a backup battery. I'm taking it with me, and I'll be locked and loaded for a post game. It'll be my most memorable one. We'll get it done.
Excellent. All right, bro. We'll be in touch.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, Will. You're the best, man. Thanks.
Thanks. I
Go
appreciate
Canes.
it. Thank you so much. Go Canes.
Take care, guys. You, baby.
All right. So let's shift gears. Obviously, the main story here is the Hurricanes, and that's what it's all about. But we're going to shift gears and talk a little NFL playoffs here. Let's go to the bracket. Will, you had your Super Bowl picks like we all did last week, last week's show. You predicted the Broncos and the Seahawks. Ashley predicted the Patriots and the Seahawks, and I said the Texans and the Rams. So far, all our teams are alive. So anybody want to change their picks, or you feel comfortable staying with your Super Bowl prediction, Will?
Yeah, I'm staying with my picks. I'm still sticking with Seattle and Denver. I think Denver's looking good, and I think Seattle has the capabilities of going all the way. I'm not changing.
Perfect. All right, and you want to keep yours.
I'm keeping
I'm keeping mine as well. All right, so let's go to the games this week. You got Saturday. You see it there in your bracket. You got the Bills and the Broncos. The Broncos are favored by 1.5. Obviously, if you're a Dolphin fan, you're rooting for the Denver Broncos in that one. Saturday night, 8 p.m., the 49ers and the Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored by 7 points in that game. Last I looked, Darnold was questionable. I think he on the plane, but interesting how they're favored by 7 points, and their quarterback, has a designation of being questionable right now. Sunday, 3 p.m., Texans and the Patriots. The Patriots are at home, and they are favored by 3. And then on Sunday, we close it out with the Rams on the road in Chicago against the Bears. And the Rams are actually favored in that game by 4.5. So that's looking at your NFL prediction. So, Will, you want to stick to yours? You're sticking to yours?
We just said that.
That's
No
all
one's changing it.
That's all we're doing.
Yeah,
Then. Okay, perfect.
mine.
All right, Will. So what we'll do is we're gonna move on and talk about the Dolphins GM situation. But we want to thank you for joining us so much. We want to make sure that we have a follow-up show here when the Hurricanes are celebrating a championship, and you'll have to come back and definitely recap it all, right?
Oh, definitely. I'd love to come back on. I'd love to come back on. No voice and all. Tired. I'd love to come back on.
Steve travels down here to Miami tomorrow to the Miami Beach. You guys, you and your family are coming down to the convention center. Guys, we talked about it before on the show. Huge family-friendly event at the convention center tomorrow and on Sunday from 10 to 6. So come down here. It was such a blast today, and everyone should be able to experience it because it was just a great time. Yeah.
And Will, before we let you go, let everybody know where they can follow you and everything you got coming up.
So I will be working on a Darian. Hopefully, I'll try to see if I can do it tonight or do it tomorrow morning. I'll be working on a Darian Mensah episode. Originally, it was going to be a Who Do You Like, Luke Nickel or Emery Williams episode, but apparently it looks like Darian Mensah is going to be a done deal real soon. He just hit the portal, and all signs are pointing to the Miami Hurricanes. So I'll be doing something, hopefully airing this Saturday morning or Sunday morning on Darian Mensah as a Miami Hurricane transfer portal quarterback. You can find me, though, however you want to check out that episode. You can find me on 305 Sports Now on YouTube. You can also follow me on X at William Padron at 305 Sports Now. You can also follow me on Facebook as well at 305 Sports Now as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks again, man. Hey, let's go Canes, man.
Go Canes.
It's all about getting this victory. It's all about the U, and hopefully the U is back officially after Monday night. So we'll see you hopefully next week to discuss it all.
You got it.
All right,
be that bear. Bye,
have
guys.
a good
Thank you so
night.
much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, there you go. I mean, look, we're focusing heavy on the Hurricanes, obviously, with everything on the line. This is what you play for. We cover these sports for a lot of things. We love talking about, the course of the regular season, all-star selections. If your team is fortunate enough to have all-star play on your team, winning streaks, getting through it, the playoffs. But make no mistake about it. It's all about this moment. It's all about playing for the ultimate prize. And Miami is a football town above all. And the Hurricanes are on the verge of doing something that they have not done in a very long time, 25 years to be specific. So they're hoping to do it one more time. So we will hopefully have a very positive and celebratory show next week. But before we let you go, we want to talk about the Dolphins' latest search. Let's first talk about the GM. You want to push up the So last Friday, it was officially announced that John Eric Sullivan was brought in as the general manager for the Miami Dolphins. There you see him right there. That's him signing his contract. And there he is, his profile pic, if you will. And so he's a little bit of a bio on him. He's 48 years old. He's been with the Green Bay Packers organization since 2004. He started as a football operations assistant. He was in the team for different capacities: director of college scouting, the co-director of player personnel, and the last 3 years he's been the VP of player personnel.
And then this was the list. I'm putting this up because I want to talk about it. Yeah, because this was the list that we had before our last show, and these were the candidates. So then we know John Eric Sullivan was chosen after they interviewed these three other gentlemen as well.
Right. And so in the last 3 years, he's been the VP of player personnel. Fun fact, his dad, I think you have it up here, his dad, Jerry Sullivan, was actually the Dolphins wide receiver coach in 2004. Here's a picture of him here. So that's John Eric's dad, Jerry Sullivan, who actually has some Dolphins ties. So that's pretty cool. So that's that. And then let's get to it, because now that he's been picked as your general manager, we are now in our head coach search. I know Russ and a couple of people had asked for it. I know Brent asked about what's going on here with the head coach. So you want to pull up the graphic with the head coach. Here are your head coach. You're up to date so far who's interviewed. Kevin Stefanski, who's the former Browns head coach. Robert Saleh, former Jets head coach, current 49ers defensive coordinator. Clint Kubiak, who's the Seahawks offensive coordinator. Jeff Hafley, who's the Packers defensive coordinator. Jesse Minter, Chargers D coordinator. Anthony Campanelli, who's a former Miami Dolphins coach. He is currently the Jaguars defensive coordinator. And here's Chris Shula, who, as we were going on the air, he was in his interview, and I think that's been completed, obviously, already. So Chris Shula just recently interviewed today. He is the Rams defensive coordinator. All these teams, with the exception of the Jaguars and the Packers and Hafley and Campanelli, are currently still in the playoffs, as are the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Rams. And of course, Stefanski has long been eliminated with the Browns. But here, your current.
And the Jaguars got knocked out by the Bills last week.
Right. So these are your current, head coaching interviews to date. So we will see. Any of these names strike you? Anybody here who you like and stand out to you?
I mean, the unpopular one would be Robert Saleh. Obviously, his career poo-pooed with the Jets. Got another chance with the 49ers as defensive coordinator. So that kind of one, head coach, defensive coordinator. I like. No?
No.
Oh, we're talking about that. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I would favor, look, I don't really like anybody on this list. If I had to do a default, it would be Chris Shula, just because of the name, right? I mean,
but he has no head coaching experience.
And nobody on this list, with the exception of Stefanski and Robert Saleh, do. But Stefanski, even though he actually won games his first couple of years with the Browns, his last several years have been pretty bad. So coming from the Browns organization, that's never good. And then Robert Saleh, while he's doing great as a defensive coordinator for the 49ers, his previous head coaching experience was with the Jets, and nothing good comes out of the New York Jets. So all these guys are coordinators, which means that they will be learning on the job, and I am not a fan of that. I'd rather have a guy that, comes in and already has, previously done this kind of a job where he's able to control the whole football team and operation, as opposed to a guy that's learning for the first time. So, but if I had to pick one, yes, it would be Chris Shula.
I think it was crazy that Coach Mike McDaniel interviewed with the Ravens today. Unlike Baltimore, no.
Right. Yeah. No,
crazy.
that's true. And by the way, all these guys have interviewed for other jobs. I mean, literally everybody on this list has interviewed, which, by the way, is crazy, because in Saleh's case, in Kubiak's case, and in Shula's case, they're all preparing for games as early as tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's wild that the NFL allows this process to take place when this is kind of a Lane Kiffin situation, if you will, where teams are like kind of cheating on their current teams back, with another team that they're courting. But and look, Chris Shula also, if you Google Chris Shula's name or you put his name on Twitter, he's trending in the Pittsburgh Steelers circles. So the Steelers seem to really want Chris Shula. So the Dolphins are going to have to make a decision here, because these guys are all going to end up getting jobs elsewhere, and so they're really going to have to pinpoint who they want and who they deem to be the next head coach.
And then let's just end it like this. Obviously, Harbaugh ended up going to the Giants. I kind of had a weird feeling that was going to happen. He has a bright future with Jackson Dart and Skaboo there. So a lot of Dolphin fans wanted him to come down here.
Yeah, no doubt. And the other guy that just came off was Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin was recently they had a parting of the ways. He wasn't fired, which actually doesn't help the situation because now you would owe the Steelers draft picks. But the rumor is that he's going to go into TV for a year. So we don't think Tomlin is realistic down here. A guy that wasn't on that list that I've said could be a guy that I'd want is Mike McCarthy. He already has ties to the GM and John Eric Sullivan, previously coaching the Packers and winning a Super Bowl in Green Bay. So I would love to see McCarthy on that list as well. But we'll see. There's still going to be more interviews coming. Those are just the guys that have been interviewed to date. So we will see. But Harbaugh was, I think a lot of people were hoping. We didn't think it was going to happen, but we were hopeful as well. And obviously now that is out the window.
Indeed it is. Show goes on.
Yep. So that's pretty much it. That's all we got. Obviously, big game on Monday night is what we're really focusing on right now. And hopefully the right result comes out of it.
Yep. So, guys, enjoy your weekend, holiday weekend. Be safe out there, and let's go Canes.
Yep. Go Canes, guys. Go Canes, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your extra day off on Monday if you're off, in fact. And, again, watch that game. Tune in for us, for our sake. Hopefully it goes the right way. And hopefully we're able to make sure that the town is having a great time based on that final score on Monday night. But enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there, and we will see you next week. Till then, fins up, and most importantly right now,
Go
Go
Canes.
Canes.